Hello everyone, it's Thomas Jujube, and welcome to the Talking Jujube podcast, a podcast where I talk gibberish, or in this case, Jujube, about the latest episodes or news in a series. Today, we're looking at the brand new episodes for Toku, and some big news that has dropped for Power Rangers and Transformers. So, let's take a look. Okay, so Cyberverse follows a similar toy naming scheme like Robots in Disguise 2015 did, where we have this Scout class, and we have Warrior class, and we have different classes for different ages, I think. So, the Scout class toys, none of them look too great. I mean, in robot modes, they're all fine, but they all look to have like an incomplete vehicle mode, and that's just really weird. So, I don't know what's up with this. If we move on to the Warrior classes, the Warrior classes are all just kind of fine. Starscream looks kind of like he's missing too much paint, and his legs look really plain and really weird. Shockwave actually looks pretty cool. His vehicle mode could be a little more desired. He just kind of looks like he's like making a table, and he just has a cannon on his stomach. But the robot mode for him looks really good. The Optimus Prime, no. The Optimus Prime is not good. His stomach is too skinny, making his chest look too big. He doesn't seem to have any hands. You can just barely make them out. But at least his truck looks pretty cool. Moving on to Bumblebee, the vehicle mode looks fine, but the robot mode does not look too great. It has too much kibble below the arms, so it makes his forearm look really tiny. And then we move on to the Ultra class, which I think is like those really oversized Transformers for little kids to play with. And the Starscream actually looks pretty cool. Like, it has those giant cannons that I think are gonna like shoot out, so I think that'll be a lot of fun for kids to just shoot their siblings with giant purple missiles, pink missiles. The Grimlock doesn't look too great. I like all the detail in the robot mode, but the vehicle mode, the T-Rex mode, doesn't look too good. And then the Ultra Class Bumblebee just again looks way too kibbly, like all this stuff on his back. And then he doesn't look like he's gonna really be posable at all. So, but I think this is like the kids line. But the Ultimate Class Optimus Prime and Megatron look really good. Cause like the Optimus Prime looks awesome. It's just too bad he has these panels on the front of his hands, because other than that, it looks awesome. That vehicle mode looks really cool. The robot mode looks really cool. Has a right amount of detail. It's like a great update to classic G1. And we also see Ultimate Class Megatron, which again looks like an awesome update to the classic G1. We have this giant cannon. It looks like an updated G1. He's just missing like the cannon on his back, but other than that, he looks like a G1 Megatron. The weird thing is, there's no Windblade in these first images, but Windblade is probably going to be a main character because of that plot synopsis, so I don't know what's going on here. But we also get more images from Toy Fair of the toys, and I mean, my thoughts still stand. Like, it's just in-hand images. Nothing looks too good. The thing I don't like the most is that we see that they all have like an open box. Like, Generations and Transformers toys will have a closed box, so like the front of the box is closed, the figure's enclosed, so if the box takes a dive, the figure is still protected inside. It might get a little damage, but it's really protected. But you can see, like, with all the boxes here, they're open faced, so if that box takes a dive, there's a very good chance this figure might get damaged, unless these are just like first drafts of the box. Maybe they might fix it, so I don't know. But I mean, my thoughts still stand. There's just, you can get a better look of how bad or how good certain figures look. And then they also have like one display with all these Bumblebee toys, which is the funny enough, this is probably only 2% of all the Bumblebee toys they've released over the years. And then there's like 34 years of Bumblebee. So again, it kind of makes me wonder, what is Cyberverse about? Because they're kind of showing off, look how much Bumblebee we've had. Maybe we're going to be exploring like Bumblebee's past, but that still takes into question what continuity we're in, so I'm not gonna go into that anymore. I'm just gonna wait for a trailer or something. But yeah, that's about it for the Cyberverse stuff. We've also gotten confirmation from Hasbro that after the Bumblebee movie this winter, there will be no Transformers movies in that continuity. It is dying after Bumblebee. Confirmed from Hasbro with this image that says in 2018 there's going to be the Bumblebee movie, 2020 and there will be a G.I. Joe movie and Micronauts, and 2021 there's going to be a Dungeons and Dragons movie and an unnamed Paramount Hasbro film. So they're killing off the movieverse. There's no Transformers 6 in 2019. So personally, I'm happy because that means they might improve. They probably will improve. I'm hoping they'll learn from their mistakes. We'll have more Transformers. We'll focus more on Transformers. You know, give the fans what they want. Do some characters justice. I'm really excited for this. I was kind of thinking they were going to do this because Transformers 6 had no like production starts. Like they didn't start anything. And it's supposed to come out next summer. So I was kind of thinking they were going to cancel it, and they did. So I'm personally very happy for this, and I'm excited to where the new Transformers cinematic universe will take us. Okay, so I was actually done shooting that segment for Transformers when we got even more news out for Transformers, because it is Toy Fair, so you know they're gonna keep coming out with stuff. So they showed off more pictures for Generations Power of the Primes, and I haven't gotten anything from Power of the Primes. It's not that it's bad, it's just that I haven't been too interested, but I have been looking for the Evolution Rodimus and Evolution Optimus Prime. And these new figures aren't bad looking. If you've been getting everything for Power to Primes, I think you'll enjoy these. The Predaking actually looks really awesome. It's just that he's probably going to be really expensive. But the Evolution Optimus Primal, if he's able to go through all of his modes that he went through in the series, I might actually get that, because that would be really awesome. I just kind of like having like two separate entities that can combine into a larger entity. So I guess that's why I like Combiners and Combiner Wars so much. So that's pretty cool. The big thing that I'm really excited for is the new Transformers Studio series, which is a line that will be re-releasing figures from the movieverse, but with more accurate molds. So for example, they're releasing Bumblebee in his like old Camaro mode from the first movie, but he's like a little more accurate. They're going to be releasing a more accurate Lockdown, a more accurate Jazz. You know, you get it. So this line actually looks really awesome. It definitely puts my faith back in Hasbro after we saw what Cyberverse is bringing us. So yeah, Hasbro has won me back. Most of the figures are from the first movie and Age of Extinction. So the first movie, I mean, obviously makes complete sense. It's the first movie. Age of Extinction seems a weird choice, but I'm totally not complaining. If you guys probably didn't know, my favorite of the Transformers movies is Age of Extinction. So I have a whole collection pretty much of the main characters from Age of Extinction, except a Stinger, because Stinger had really no good figure, and the Lockdown could have been a little bit better. And they are releasing a Stinger and a better Lockdown. So I'm definitely picking the Lockdown up, and probably the Stinger too. And they're releasing a Leader Class Grimlock that looks so beautifully detailed. Like, if you don't even like Age of Extinction, I think you're gonna have to pick this up, because this is so, like, just from these images, this looks so well done, and this is probably gonna be one of the best toys of this year. So I'm totally picking up that Grimlock. And then the other figures are all really good. I think they'll go perfect, or at least very well, with the movie Masterpiece series, because I think with this it will have you'll be able to have a more accurate version of every character seen in the first movie, because there's no Bumblebee in his Camaro, and there's no Barricade, and there's no Ironhide in the Studio Series line, because they already have a movie masterpiece figure. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to go over all these figures because I have more things to go over in this video. You can check out more images of these in the description below. All the images I talk about here in the description. But all of these look really good, and if you're a fan of any of these characters, I'd recommend picking that character up because all of these look really, really well done. So that's about it for the Transformers news. So this episode of Lupin Ranger versus Power Ranger was just awesome. I think it was just as good, if not better, as last week's episode. Right off the bat, we get that Ranger versus Ranger action, so yup, I totally wanted that. And we get it right there. I didn't mention this last week. I did catch it, but I didn't say anything. The guns, and you can presume the morpher is the gun. The guns, and you can presume the dial fighters and trigger machines, they're part of the Lupin collection. So I think that kind of confirms my theory that some pieces of the collection will be granting Zords, because Good Striker is also part of the collection. So yeah, I'm totally right, guys. And then we got the mech versus mech fight. I mean, not like Pat Kaiser versus Lupin Kaiser, but we get Trigger Machines versus Dial Fighters in this really cool sequence. I like the giant, like, ready, and you flip it, and it's just go, and it activates their abilities for the Zords. That's pretty cool. I like the intro for the series. It's very kind of like nice, and then it kind of builds up. Had nice visuals, and it kind of hinted at what we get later in the episode. I was also reminded of how much I liked Yellow, because she's just like so bubbly. At first, the Ichigo, he wasn't actually kind of like crazy, like I said he was. He was like, oh yes, we're going to make a promise. He has a quick flash of craziness later, but I actually liked him in this episode. And like, this episode already gave us backstory on all three Lupin Rangers. We already have a good idea of why they're working with the butler, I don't know his name, to get the Lupin collection so they can get back their loved ones. We know Red has a brother and was presumably killed. They're all presumably, yeah, they are killed. So obviously we know Red is his brother. Blue and Yellow we don't quite know yet, but obviously you know it's someone important to them. And then obviously they had to get back all of the collection to regain their loved one. So I think it's kind of like Ghost from Kamen Rider Ghost in that sense. But hey, we'll see. We get more like 360-degree spins and more Ranger on Ranger action, which is awesome. The Pato Rangers morph is really, really cool. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. I really like how we get like that armor attaching to their shoulders. That was a really cool sequence. The only weird part is like the tie kind of like swishing, but hey, whatever. I kind of like the interesting dynamic that we have. Like, the Lupins will always be showing up first and morphing before the Pato Rangers do. So the Lupins already know who the Pato Rangers are. There's no like secret identities that, but the Lupins do have a secret identity. So that's pretty cool. And I like, because of the secrets that, or no, the promise they made, it kind of explains why after they get their part of the collection, why they don't just leave, because they made a promise to beat all the Gangler. But we see Red kind of just like remember Ichigo make that promise, and he was like, you know what, I think we'll let them handle it this time, and they leave. And then we also see kind of Blue, and you're like, no, we need to take them down. And I think we're gonna get more on that next episode, so that's pretty cool. And then and then we get Pato Rangers doing their thing, and the Pat Megabos are just really crazy, where they line up all the Porter men, and then they just go through smashing them all one at a time. That was just kind of a little too crazy for me. And I like how they just randomly have the Good Striker. I mean, not randomly, but I like how they already had the Good Striker, and they're like, hey, let's test this out. And Pattern Yugo, I think is its name, the Union form. That is really cool. It's a little weird that it's not like a final combination or final form of sorts, because it actually looks really cool. And I like how the Lupin Rangers are just watching, and they're just laughing the whole time. Like, they're not, we'll let them do it, and they're just laughing. That's really fun. I hope they have like popcorn in an episode. That would be the best. And then when I don't know, the monster, who grows stuff, she switches out her part of the collection. So there's that I was hoping for. But then there's this really creepy music playing in the background when she grows the monster, and it kind of puts me on edge, and I think that's what they were going for, so thumbs up for that. And then we get Goody, the Good Striker, just comes in, and it's so adorable how tiny it is, flying next to the Red Dial Fighter. And then they get the Lupin Kaiser, In Lupin Kaiser, like that combination, I already like the mech, but that combination was really, really cool. Like where they move their chairs, and then we kind of get like the outline, like the schematics of the fighters on the Good Striker body, and then they all attach. And then the final attack with the giant verse changer shooting the monster, that was just really cool. And then the whole fight, I think there's only like 2 seconds or like a couple seconds of footage where they use the actual suit. Everything else is just CG. So I kind of feel like Toei saw the sales for the Transformers movies and went, yeah, you see that? Yeah, do that. And they did it. And since I like the Transformers movies, here we are, me loving that fight sequence. That was awesome. So, yeah, that was pretty much the entire episode. Then at the end, though, we get the Power Rangers come into the cafe, and everyone's just kind of staring at each other all serious. And Lupin Red wonders, do they know, obviously, their secret identity? And come on, I think we all know that the Power Rangers are just there for a snack. There's no evidence of how the Powder Rangers would figure out who the Lupin Rangers are, but hey, they might surprise us. But I think we all know that it's gonna be like a gag, like Red's gonna, or no, Ichigo's gonna ask, oh, do you have any coffee or something? And they're gonna go, coffee? Yes, we have coffee. We all know that's gonna happen. But really, this episode was just really awesome, and really, Lupin Ranger versus Powder Ranger has pulled out the big guns first. So yeah, this series has a lot of potential. So, looks like Toku is going 2 for 2, because this episode of Build was also just really good. In the intro, when Sawa's just trying to get $50,000 for everything, that was really funny. And I like how they're like, oh, new member of the intro. That was really cool. The girls don't actually serve like a huge part in this episode. They're just there for the comic relief in the beginning. They could have done more, but I can't think of what else they would have done, since most of this took place in like action sequences or places of war, so they probably shouldn't have been there anyway. And I love how quick Grease was to spend all of his money just to shake Misora's hand. That was really funny. And Saito is just very quick to announce their presence, like just like that. Like I think we're barely 5 minutes in, and they're like, we're declaring war. I love that the Kaiser brothers, that's what I'm gonna call them, the Kaiser brothers. I love that they share a Nebula steam gun. I was kind of wondering, like, are there like 3 Nebula steam guns? 1 for Rogue, and then 1 for each brother. And then they just show up. They don't really do anything. They just show up. They're probably gonna be killed off at some point, and we're probably not gonna learn a lot about them. But I mean, they're probably just gonna be grunts to fight. So whatever. And then I just love how, like, he pulls out the gun, he inserts the gear, he pulls the trigger, and then he pulls out the gear and hands it to his brother, and his brother does the same thing. I was wondering what they're gonna do, and that was really funny. And I love how we keep continuity with the movie, because I think sometimes we'll have something appearing in the movie, and then it appears in the show, and then sometimes there's this weird continuity blip, like, oh, there's this weird thing from the movie, but no one, like, acknowledges it, if you know what I mean. And here, Sento and Ryugo just look at each other, and they're like, isn't that the Kaiser system? And we get a quick flashback. That was awesome. It kept continuity with the movie, and I haven't seen the movie yet, so. And then they make the Kaiser brothers, make a powerful introduction to show, like, how powerful Saito is, or how powerful their force is. And then, like, you feel so bad for Kiba in this episode. Like, he was only trying to help his friends and family, you can presume, on the farm, and he gets so beat up for it. I like that we're still keeping the invasion rules, like, they can't go into the Saito area, or no, this is Hokuto. They can't go into Hokuto to help, because that would still be, like, falling under invasion rule number 6293. No, I'm just kidding. And then the steam rifle is actually used as a rifle, so kudos to that. And then we have a quick scene where the Saito Prime Minister is talking to Nanba and Utsumi. So Utsumi, Nanba, and Stalk are just all little backstabbers. We know Nanba and Utsumi are working together. Well, Utsumi works for Nanba, so, but it's Stock still working for them. I think he is, or working with them at least. I'm sure he's not working for them. And then it was very heartwarming to see Kiba use his last powers, or his last seconds of life, to save Grease from the Kaiser's final attack. And then we get a nice fight scene between Hazard and Crossy Charge. And I guess knocking Sento out of the Hazard form isn't hard now. Like, he kind of just, Ryu shoots the trigger and it flies out. And I was wondering, okay, so why didn't you do that in the last episode? It's just a small nitpick. And then we get Rogue transforming, and that was an awesome sequence. I love the Rogue transformation, like the I can't scream. That was a really, that's really creepy noise, and it really works, like, to kind of hype up Rogue. And then Rogue shows up at the fight, and the Kaiser bros just look at him and are like, yeah, we're done here. See ya. And they leave. And Rogue's debut is awesome. I love how he just casually, like, he plugs Crocodile into the steam gun. He looks away. He's not even looking at Ryuga. He just points the gun to the side and blows him away. That was beautiful. And then his like rider kick, where he turns into a giant crocodile head and he scissor kicks literally Sento, and the crocodile mouth just clamps down. That was really cool. That was just a really cool introduction for Rogue. And then I like that when he says Kamen Rider Rogue, they're like, hey, we know someone else named Rogue. Are you him? And then he pulls it out, and it's Gentoku. And the really creepy thing is he calls Sento Katsuragi. He's like, good to see you again, Katsuragi. Ooh. Maybe something, he's like crazy now or something, because he's so calm, and he's like, just good to see you again, Katsuragi. Like, he seems crazy. Sadly, this was spoiled for me, because I saw a thumbnail on YouTube with Gentoku in the Sato clothes holding the Nebula steam gun. But it was still an awesome reveal. So overall, this was a really awesome episode of Build, and I can't wait to see what'll happen next when we learn more to see how Rogue became a Sato rider. Now, I'm just going to talk about the Power Rangers episode really quickly, because it wasn't all that standout. The fishing competition is just kind of funny. When they pulled out the diver, I immediately went, this diver is going to become the Zord, isn't it? And it did. But the good thing is, they almost faked me out for a second there when they pulled out the Power Star, which, first of all, just great. We're pulling Power Stars out of nowhere again. And then the Power Star is sent to the Rangers, and I was like, no, we're gonna get another Red Robozord situation again, aren't we? Because, like, the submarine, I was like, the diver's not gonna become the Zord anymore, is it? It's just gonna be there, and they're gonna be, oh, this is like the submarine, let's call it this. But no, the submarine became the Zord, so thankfully we didn't get another Robo Red Zord Redbot situation. And then the parent dating thing, like having that as a plot point, seemed a little weird. So yeah, that was just kind of a weird idea to use as an episode, and it kind of seemed pointless because we weren't really improving Haley or Sarah as characters at all. They were just kind of screwing around with the parents and messing with them. And then, I mean, and the lesson wasn't even all that good. Like, oh, I hope you learn not to sabotage other people's dates. Okay, thank you for teaching children that. We get that we can't go underwater cliche. Like, when the tsunami thing starts acting, they're like, we can't go underwater. Here we go. I don't like that cliche, really. Like, we can't fly. Oh, how coincidental. This is the episode we get the flying Zord. Oh, we can't swim. How coincidental. This is the episode we get the swimming Zord. You know what I mean? That cliche kind of seems a little weird to me. Especially when they're just like, we can't go underwater. Gee, I wonder what's going to help them go underwater. And it seemed a little weird that Levi got to use it. Like, last episode, they should have found a way to make last episode this episode, if you know what I mean. Because Levi just randomly gets to use it. And it's kind of like how Sarah was helping the princess of the Lion Fire Galaxy, but Brody gets to use the power-up. And this is the episode focusing on Sarah and Haley, but Levi just gets to randomly use the Zord. Especially when last week was Levi's episode. Like, come on, we couldn't have mixed them or something like that. This just seems a little lazy to me. the great thing is, Victor and Monty probably had the least appearances in the entire series. They're there for a quick second in the beginning, they're there in the middle, which I'm fine with. They didn't do anything stupid. They just said hooky dookie. What did they say? Super duper hooky wookie. Yes, that was what they said in a Power Rangers episode. Okay. But actually, they didn't do any. They just were there at the beginning to set up their appearance in the middle. And then we get the comic relief at the end, kind of like an old Power Rangers episode with Bulk and Skull. So that wasn't terrible. This is probably the best episode of Victor and Monty. They don't do anything, but they're there just enough so that they're not annoying. So bravo for that. Overall, this episode was just kind of meh. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. Probably wasn't the worst. So yeah, and I went over this quickly because I'm sure you've all heard this, but I haven't talked about it yet. So Bandai and Power Rangers split up. After 25 years of Bandai producing Power Rangers toys, they've gone their separate ways. Bandai does not hold the license to make Power Rangers toys anymore. So that happened, I think, Thursday. So now people were wondering, oh, what's going to happen? Who's going to make Power Rangers toys anymore? And then the next morning, lo and behold, Hasbro comes along and is now going to be producing Power Rangers toys in April 2019. Along with that, they showed off a brand new logo for the series, not like a movie or anything, not for just the toys. For the entire series, they announced a new logo for Power Rangers. And I have to say, this logo looks really, really cool. Like, it looks like a Transformers movie logo, just done a little differently, and it says Power Rangers. So that's really cool. I really dig this new logo. And then Saturday, it is announced that the next series, 2019 Power Rangers, after all the speculation, they finally announced it to be Q Ranger. Wait, it's not Q Ranger. Oh, yes. The next season, they've gone back to the 2012 Super Sentai season. They were using Tokimei Sentai Go Busters to create Power Rangers Beast Morphers. What is going on? I posted a quick video on that because I just really wanted to get my quick thoughts out there, because that's just crazy. I was 100% expecting Q Ranger to become the next Power Rangers, but now we're going to Go Busters, going back to Go Busters? That seems crazy to me. Now, I've seen all the theories for that. It probably is because with Hasbro taking over the reins for toys next year, they probably want to test the waters for how well people receive their toys. So instead of going all crazy with 12 Rangers, 12 mechs, 12 everything, they maybe wanted to scale it back and go with 5 Rangers, 5 mechs. You know what I mean? That's probably why they chose Go Busters, because they don't want to overdo it on their first run. They don't want to go out there swinging. They want to kind of test the waters, and then they'll dive in. I mean, I'm excited for Beast Morphers. I haven't seen Go Busters yet. I'm probably going to see Go Busters now. But I'm excited for it. It's just that I'm really disappointed we're not getting Q Ranger, because I really wanted a Q Reno. I'm working currently on the top 10 Voyagers, and I really love those Q Ranger mechs. And I really was really hoping that we would have a Q Reno here. But I guess I have to wait another few years before I get to get a Q Reno. But no, I'm actually very excited for Beast Morphers. The synopsis of the story says, set in the future, a secret agency combines a newly discovered substance called Morph X with animal DNA to create the Power Rangers Beast Morphers team. The Rangers must fight off an evil sentient computer virus bent on taking over the source of all Ranger power, the Morphin Grid itself. Featuring never before seen leather suits and an all-new Beast-themed arsenal, including dynamic new Zords, fans should get ready for a season full of secret ops and more phenomenal fun. So, this sounds actually pretty cool, and I agree with everyone else. This totally sounds like RPM Season 2. Because an evil computer virus, Morphing Grid, it sounds like RPM. So that would be really cool, and a kind of nice way for Hasbro to go, hey, look. Because I think Hasbro has something to do with this new changes. Bandai leaves. Right as Bandai leaves, now we have a new logo. We've gone back to Go Busters. Come on, I think Bandai had a little more influence than we all thought. So that's really cool. And Hasbro actually, in I think a couple years, Hasbro will have the option to completely buy out Power Rangers. So that might be for the better. At first, I was kind of like, because I saw those Cyberverse toys and I wasn't digging them, and I was kind of worried for the franchise because I might have dipped because of Cyberverse toys. But then we get the new images for Power of the Primes, the Studio series, which I'm very impressed with. So I think that Hasbro taking over Power Rangers is probably going to be for the better in the long run. I'm looking forward to what Hasbro is going to do with the series, and I hope they do a good job with it. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Talking Jujube. It was quite a crazy one with all this news and these amazing episodes and whatnot. But before I sign out, I just want to say that we're almost at 300 subscribers when I only hit 200 subscribers 2 weeks ago. So thank you so much to everyone who's been subscribing, watching the videos. It means so much to me. I will be looking into how I can live stream. So the weekend after we hit 300 subscribers, look forward to that weekend, because I'm going to be trying to do my first live stream to thank you guys. It's just going to be like a live Q&A. I might be doing something else. I'll do a video on the 300 subscribers to let you know the exact time and dates and whatnot. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.